Hello, my name is Nick Lodato, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Microsoft Word and how to create accessible documents. So this is the first of a series of very brief presentations that will help you learn how to use Word to create accessible documents. So let's start out with something hands-on. So let's look at Word. So here's a document, a pretty simple document, and I wanted to talk to you about this document for a minute. There's something wrong with this document, but I want to show you a different document, very similar, same words, roughly the same formatting, but very different. So let's go back and see how it's different. So first, remember that in Word, there are characters that you see and display on the screen that would be printed on a printer, for instance, but there are also invisible characters. This button, the Show Hide Paragraph mark, can show you some of the invisible characters. What you're seeing here is a tab character, some space characters, raised dots, and a paragraph character. So if you look at this document, you'll see that this person, the creator of this document, instead of centering the title, tabbed over and spaced over to get it approximately in the center. You see that at the end of every sentence, as they were typing, they hit a hard carriage return. You see that they double spaced between what looked to be headings. Now, headings are important. They give a document structure. They help the reader understand the parts of the document and how they are structured. Let's look at the other document and do the same thing. Now this document, you don't see the tabs and the spaces. You see spaces between words, which is fine. You don't see extra carriage returns between paragraphs. And as a matter of fact, this is one entire paragraph instead of 4 paragraphs in the previous example. But the difference is deeper than that, and it has an impact not only on look, but on accessibility. So to show you that, I'd like to change the view a little bit and show something called the Navigation Pane. Now, the Navigation Pane is just that. It's a way to navigate your document. And in this case, the Navigation Pane is showing us that we have a header and we have subheadings as well. Now, the other document, the What's Wrong document, when we view the Navigation Pane, we don't see headings. We see this text saying, create an interactive outline of your document. Because why? Because there aren't headings. Now, let me explore a little deeper. If we go back to the home screen, you'll see this thing called styles. And in this case, as I move through the document, you'll see that this style is the normal style throughout the entire document, even though different lines are formatted in different ways. Now, you can display all the styles that are in use in your document. Actually, there's a setting that will allow you to see all styles that are available to you versus all styles currently in use versus the next style up. But as you see, again, I'll scroll through this document and everything is considered normal. Let's go back to the other version of the document and do the same thing. We'll go to the home screen, hit this little styles button, and now we see that, this has a style called heading 1, and this has a style called normal. This has a style called heading 2. So it's corresponding to the styles that we saw over here as headings. Now, why is that important for accessibility? Well, if one can't see and needs the assistance of a screen reader to read the document to you, the software in the screen reader allows the user to navigate through the document by skipping over headings so that they can see the structure of the document and navigate it by those headings. In the prior document, there are no headings. So your only way of navigating this document, if you had to use a screen reader, is to go from top to bottom. So it's kind of like a audio tape versus or a data tape versus a CD, so random access. The well-formatted document, this one, includes headers that the person using a screen reader can use to navigate. So big benefit to a person who has an accessibility issue, but also a big benefit in terms of the aesthetics of the document, because each of those things that have heading 2 as their property are going to look identical. The spacing is going to be identical everywhere throughout the document. So those are important considerations. So, in summary, the way that you format your document can really have a profound influence on its readability and its accessibility. A well-formatted headings, they help clarify the structure and organization of the document. You also need to be aware of those hidden characters. Now, earlier versions of screen readers would have read tab, 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 space, space, space out loud, which would be very annoying, as opposed to just the heading. And, of course, without headings, you would not be able to navigate the document. So that's it. I promised these would be brief. We'll get to some other topics down the road. If you need to contact me, there's my contact information. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you.